Tonight's headlines are brought to you in part by Coldwell Energy and McDonald's.
Good evening, Commonwealth, and as always, thank you for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Sally Limis. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. A government office has been broken into and burglarized. Also tonight, what is happening with the impeachment proceedings? We have an update. And the court hears both sides of the governor's lawsuit against legislators. In sports, the U18's youngest player tells us her story. Stay with us, we have these stories and more next.
I have a phone. I have no TV. Ooh, TV on phone. I have a tablet. I have no TV. Ooh, TV on tab. I have a TV. I have a stick. Ooh, TV on stick. I want my streaming. I want my TV. Ooh, streaming TV.
And there you have it, McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich. From the makers of the world's most stolen fries. The juicy chicken sandwich from the place that offers extra napkins for a reason. The tender chicken sandwich from the creators of a sandwich phenomenon. So you won't just be biting into a chicken sandwich, you'll be biting into McDonald's new crispy, juicy, tender chicken sandwich. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Day to the Wami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Friday, April 1st, 2022. We start off tonight's newscast with a burglary and theft incident at the Rev and Tax office. The stealers run off with $10,000. Police officers investigate the scene this morning after the Revenue and Taxation Office in Dandan was reported to be burglarized. According to a release from the Department of Public Safety, there were signs of forced entry at the main entrance door. Police also noticed that the collection safe had been tampered with. Officials estimate that $10,000 has been stolen. Personal belongings and several other payment checks are missing as well. Full inventory of the office is still being conducted. DRT Director Tracy Norita states her staff are shaken due to the nature of the incident. She says security measures and practices are currently being reviewed and strengthened to further secure the collections branch. Police have not released if there are any leading suspects. The case remains ongoing, and DPS encourages the community to contact 911 if you have any information relating to the case. If you want to remain anonymous, you may call the CNMI Crime Stoppers at 670-234-7272. Crime Stoppers pays up to $1,000 for any information leading to an arrest. The House of Representatives remain firm in selecting 5 members as the impeachment prosecutors, but the Senate says they are not inclined to change the rules, which means the trial is forthcoming with or without the House's cooperation. The Senate clerk is currently reviewing the House's impeachment records, needing to verify if they are whole and true. Once they are certified, the impeachment proceedings may move forward. In an interview with Senator Carl King Neighbors, he states he is personally frustrated and disappointed to hear that the House leadership would not prefer to participate in the Senate impeachment hearings, given what lengths they have gone to bring it to this juncture. He says it begs the question, what has all this been for? In a press conference with the House leadership earlier this week, members say if the trial does proceed, there is still another way to address the issue.
There's other steps. There's still another branch of government that we can take this to. If they're going to take away the opportunity for the House to represent this body in the impeachment process, or even stripped us with any authority to proceed in the Senate trial, there's obviously a next level we can go to. We don't want to get to that next level at this point. We want to make sure that we're given the opportunity.
Neighbors states the House took 4 years to make this happen, and to decline to participate in the Senate hearings is the true tragedy and injustice. The tension between Governor Ralph Torres and the House JGO committee spilled into the courthouse on Thursday. Pro tempore judge is to issue a written decision on the validity of a legislative subpoena. The Honorable Judge Timothy Bellis heard arguments and briefs from the legal counsels of Governor Ralph Torres and the House Standing Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations yesterday morning. Back in December of last year, Torres filed a lawsuit against the JGO committee to quash the subpoenas that has held him in contempt after failing to appear in a House hearing. But the JGO committee turned around and filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, arguing they are protected under the CNMI Constitution, which provides them immunity from such proceedings. Both parties presented their case with one question up in the air. Does the legislature have the authority to issue a subpoena to a sitting chief executive? Torres, who was not in attendance at the hearing, was represented by Gil Burnbridge, Joseph Horry, Richard Miller, and Washington, D.C.-based Ross Garber. Garber argued that the U.S. Congress has never subpoenaed the testimony of a sitting president, and the judiciary branch should evaluate the separation of power issues. Joseph Tyrone and Brendan Lade represented the JGO committee, whose members were present at the hearing. They pointed out to Bellis that in the Eastland versus United States Servicemen Fund, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the issuance of subpoenas is a legitimate use by Congress of its power to investigate. Media partners asked Lade for a comment after the hearing.
Mr. Miller and Mr. Garber both argued well. We await the court's response. We agree with the court that it's unfortunate that the judiciary was placed in this position of having to arbitrate between the legislative and executive branches. We also do not relish the judiciary having been placed in that position by the executive, but we have faith in Judge Bellis's acumen, and it'll be very interesting to see how this moves forward procedurally, as well as what the collateral consequences will be for the other related proceedings.
The governor's attorneys declined to comment on camera and issued the following statement later in the day, thanking the judge and court staff for accommodations and acknowledging the professionalism of Judge Bellis and the opposing counsel. Burnbridge states, quote, The issues presented in the case are certainly unprecedented in the Sinamay. Never before has an ordinary committee of a house of the legislature attempted to subpoena a sitting governor and force him to appear before them. We believe our arguments opposing the House Committee's motion to dismiss are strong and look forward to moving ahead to the next phase of the case." Unquote. Beles is to issue a written decision soon. The Superior Court finds probable cause for drug charges filed against a local male who was held at a $100,000 cash bail. 33-year-old Denmar Malabanan was brought back to the Department of Corrections after Judge Joseph Camacho found probable cause to make the drug charges stick. Based on a testimony from a DETF officer, the court believes that the crimes of trafficking of a controlled substance and possession of a controlled substance were committed. The defendant is ordered to appear at his arraignment hearing set for April 4th, 2022 before presiding judge Robert Naraha. For more than 10 years, the Commonwealth has proclaimed April as Sexual Assault Month. The Anamay Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault kicks off with a well-known community leader sharing her story with the community, not only to help her healing process, but to inspire others to begin theirs. Many survivors and victims of sexual assault can go their whole life without ever seeking help or justice. It takes so much courage to tell your story, even if it's to the people closest to you. Kimberlyn King Hines says when something like sexual assault happens to you, there's a part of your peace that shatters and you feel broken. During a proclamation ceremony on Thursday, Hines shared her story and her journey of healing.
The hardest part of my healing process is accepting that it wasn't my fault. There were many times then and still sometimes today when I ask myself, why didn't I run away? Why did I do something? Why didn't I tell somebody? Why didn't I tell my mom, my brothers, my sisters? And my dear survivors, there are no answers to those questions because they are irrelevant. It doesn't matter that you didn't tell anybody. It doesn't matter that you didn't run away. What happened to you was not your fault. And it took me a long time in my healing process to realize that.
Hines is a daughter of Tinian, and she knows how our culture strongly shapes the way we think and deal with the issue.
Women who dress a certain way are asking for it. It's her fault, because she was drunk. Or di mga masangan sa nak mamalo para familia. Taza loki poro ninengi. Nak mamalo simpri masangan no. And I wish that I could stand here before you and say that that culture has changed. But as we've seen these past couple of years, it hasn't.
The lawyer brought up a sexual assault allegation that involves a sitting congressman and several underage girls. She spoke about how officials handled the matter and also how the public reacted to it.
Our community responded to this news as if we haven't learned anything. Every single reason why so many of us stayed silent and continue to stay silent. Every single reason why we fear reporting, every single reason that we, survivors and victims, use to justify to ourselves why it's better not to say anything, was affirmed in a very public way and espoused by distinguished members of this community, to include many of our leaders.
But Hines hopes that her story inspires others to begin their healing process, no matter how long it takes and at their own time.
Some of you will never speak your truth because it's just too much and it's too painful. And there are parts of my story that I will never tell because it is too much to relive and just too much for me to bear. And as I was writing this, I was worried about how my story will affect you in your healing process. Because I know sometimes just hearing someone else's experience can be too much. But my hope is that by standing here today and by sharing my story, you will feel empowered to share your story in your own way and in your own time. But more importantly, I'm standing here today to tell you that I believe you, and you are not alone.
Hines says she turned to the NMI Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault in some of her worst times and reminds others that help is out there. Thank you so much, Kim, for sharing your story. We'll share another testimony next week in honor of Sexual Assault Month. All right, coming up, what will the fire chief leave behind as his legacy? Stay tuned to find out.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
My journey began in 2019. I noticed white patch. Now it was stage 1 cancer. I told my wife that I had cancer. I just remember sitting in there with Dr. Moss. First thing that got into my mind was, how am I gonna get to my car? I mean, all the emotions were running through my head. I mean, I broke down. After my second surgery, I was cancer-free for 1 year and 28 days. During my routine checkup, cancer came back. Same thing, I got my surgery. Biopsy results from all that surgery came back negative again. And I've been cancer-free so far, just doing my 3 months CT scan, blood works. My advice to all is try not to pick up on bad habits. If you feel any type of sores or stuff in your mouth, visit CHC or any dental clinic for your free oral screening. Early detection is the best chance for your successful treatment.
Ready to quit tobacco? Call the CNMI Tobacco Quit line at 670-323-7848. Visit your dental clinic for a free oral health screening.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. Fire Chief Dennis Mendiola will be transferring over to Homeland Security in just a few weeks. Let's take a look at some of his biggest accomplishments he is leaving behind in the fire department. Commissioner Dennis Mendiola has hurdled through a financial deficit, austerity, lawsuits, and many other challenges in just 2 years of heading the CNMI Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services. But his top mission was to ensure that nothing would infringe on the emergency services. To make that possible, Mendiola fine-tuned the department's organizational structure.
So we created a structure for the department, reorganized the entire department. We separated administration from operation. That's why we have an administration building up here, and then operation is more of just emergency services.
The commissioner states the pandemic was still fresh when he first got on board, but his focus dwelled on the department's foundation.
As soon as I came on board, I noticed that there was a lot of just crossing paths, and according to our law, we actually have 5 different divisions. So we wanted to stand those divisions up individually to have leadership, train the leadership within that to kind of carry out the mission for that respective division. And we were very successful in doing that.
Mendiola was also able to secure equipment, which he says DFEMS was in dire need of.
We had old bunker gears that ranges from 10 years to 15 years or maybe even more. So I think one of the mission was to try and create or to purchase for the entire fire department PPEs.
Other upgrades include renovations of old buildings, fire stations, and acquiring new vehicles needed for services. But one of the biggest success that Mendiola would like to highlight is this.
One of the biggest part that we've been very successful on is just creating an atmosphere of just leadership. We train and groom a lot of leadership in this department to try and just become self-sustained, self-sufficient, because as everybody knows, this department used to be under DPS and there was a lot of challenges. But now that we became a department, we started focusing on protocols, policies within the department and trying to create that and make the department stand on its own.
Mendiola will be stepping down as fire chief and will take on the role as special assistant of the CNMI Homeland Security and Emergency Management Services. The governor has yet to appoint a new commissioner for DFEMS. Over on Guam, community members fill up the room at Congress, expressing concerns on a piece of legislation that may terminate public health emergency. KUAM reports.
Hafaday Sinamai Guahusi Isaiah again, and here's what's making news on Guam. Tensions were high during Wednesday's public hearing on Resolution 291-36. Close to 30 people showed up to testify, most of whom were from the Leon Guerrero Tenor administration. KUAM's Daniel Perez reports.
The Guam Congress building was packed last night for the public hearing of Resolution 291 to terminate the public health emergency. The first to testify was school teacher Debbie Staley. She's against the extension of the public health emergency as it impedes the learning process.
As a teacher, I can attest to the impact some of the restrictions have had on education and to the impact those restrictions continue to have. The delays in reading and writing in particular are significant, and even more significant the lower down in elementary you go as a result of being online for such an extended time.
She added although the children are back in school, the continued mask use is causing delays in the lower elementary grades and says that delay is going to have a trickle effect in years to come. Island resident Gennady Belishev also spoke out in support of Resolution 291 and how the public health emergency has impacted the community.
We have an island that has followed all steps, protocols in the name of safety and recovery. Vaccinated once, vaccinated twice, boosted once, and still afraid, still wearing masks, still afraid of neighbors and so on and so forth, still afraid to breathe air.
Belishev pointed out that the governor's statement about how the pandemic was a pandemic of the unvaccinated created segregation throughout the community. He further questioned why residents were still getting infected and dying of COVID if vaccines, boosters, masks, and other protective measures were effective against the virus. Though most who testified were in favor of the resolution, veteran Christopher Camacho Flores opposed it and shared why.
The governor has done nothing wrong with her executive orders. We may not agree with it. I was in the military. There was a lot of orders I didn't agree with, but by God, I had to follow them. I know the governor was very concerned early on. She took this pandemic seriously.
Public health officials also testified at the hearing, but were opposed to the resolution. COVID-19 Incident Commander Fernando Esteves.
Regardless of the outcome of this resolution, we continue to prepare for any potential surges, but the passage of Resolution 291 creates anticipated delays of 2 to 3 weeks should another surge occur. That is a risk I advise against.
The 3-hour-long hearing wrapped up just before 8 p.m. Daniel Perez reporting for KUAM News.
Reporting for your news leader, the voice of the Marianas, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
All right, thank you, Isaiah. Now, folks, don't go anywhere because we have sports up next.
You are everything that matters to me, and I promise to do whatever it takes to keep you healthy, to be comfortable, and to be free. I love you. As long as we're together, I'll always make sure that home will always be our best place to breathe.
At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
The Tan Su Lin Foundation promotes the culture of giving back. The foundation and its generous partners are committed to supporting programs that include health, education, and sports. Initiatives that promote arts and culture, the environment, and tourism will benefit our community and our residents. Giving back and making a difference will help ensure that the island paradise we call home will be a better place to live.
Hey, golfers, come north and practice your game at the Marianas Driving Range. New Year's local specials. 10-piece coupon books available for just $60. That's a $10 savings. Want to get really good? Come work on your swing every day for just $99 per month. It's our practice pass and you're going to love it. Grab your passes and go straight to the range. You can social distance and chip all at the same time, and the views are free. Reserve now at MarianasTrekking.com. You can pay online, open 7 days a week.
I have a phone. I have no TV. Ooh, TV on phone. I have a tablet. I have no TV. Ooh, TV on tab. I have a TV. I have a stick. Ooh, TV on stick. I want my streaming. I want my TV. Ooh, streaming TV.
Tonight's sports brought to you in part by Tan Holdings through the Tan Su Lin Foundation, making communities a better place to live.
Buenas sports fans.
And for our sports report, we feature the youngest player of the women's U18. Here is KSPN's Young Star for tonight. One man can be a crucial ingredient on a team, but one man cannot make a team. A quote by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Young Star Shining, brought to you by the Tan Su Lin Foundation.
An 8th grader from Saipan International School, Julie Chavez, is our young star for tonight.
I'm Julie Chavez and I'm 13 years old. I go to Saipan International School and I'm in 8th grade.
Chavez started playing soccer at a very young age. She joined the Tan Holdings Football Club before becoming a member of the NMI Women's U18 national team, which she is very proud of.
Happy because we can represent the flag.
She plays the fullback position and she explains to us what she does in this position.
We mostly defend because we're the defensive line. And if the ball passes to our midfield or wingers, we're the one mostly clearing the balls out, keeping the goal safe so our enemies won't score on us.
Chavez joined her teammates in Guam last month for a week-long training and friendly matches with the Guam national team. Besides soccer, she also plays other sports.
I play volleyball, badminton, running, and swimming.
Chavez is one of the youngest members on the U18 national team, and she wants to improve more on her skills, especially the attacking part.
My touches and my dribbles, because whenever we do attacking practices, I tend to get kind of stuck on it.
Playing soccer makes her happy, most especially when she plays with or against her friends.
I'd say when we play a game and it's against people we know, and it tends to be fun even though it's competitive.
Here is her piece of advice to those who would like to follow in her footsteps.
I'd say listen to your coach because that will make you a better player, and work hard.
Young Star Shining, brought to you by the Tan Su Lin Foundation.
Buy one, get one free for the off-road adventure at Marianas Trekking. Come ride our side-by-sides at our best price ever and experience a great 90-minute trail ride. Rain or shine, hopefully rain. Book now at Marianas Trekking. Saturdays and Sundays by reservation. Call 323-8735 or book at marianastrekking.com.
And for the KSPN weather report, partly sunny with scattered showers. East wind 14 to 16 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with isolated showers. East wind 14 to 18 miles per hour. High 87, a low 78, and 85% humidity. Tomorrow, partly sunny with scattered showers. High 86, low 78. The marine forecast, east wind 15 to 20 knots. Wind waves 3 to 4 feet. East swell 5 to 7 feet. The sunrise will be at 6:12 a.m., high tide at 7:55 a.m., low tide at 8:04 p.m., and the sunset, you can catch that at 6:29 p.m. All right, folks, there you have it. That is your Friday edition of the news, sports, and weather. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.